On this day, July 29, 2026, the landscape of global travel and immigration to the United States has fundamentally shifted. A new chapter has begun, one defined by unprecedented levels of scrutiny and control, marking the end of one era and the dawn of a more complex one. For countless individuals around the world, the dream of coming to America has suddenly become more complex. The path for those hoping to study, build a career, or reunite with family is now filled with new questions and potential obstacles. These are not minor tweaks to existing regulations. These are significant policy changes with immediate, far-reaching consequences that affect nearly every visa category. Understanding these new rules is not an academic exercise. It is a critical necessity for anyone whose life, career, or family is connected to crossing a U.S. border. The cost of a mistake, in time, money, and opportunity, has never been higher. The stakes are profoundly personal and deeply significant for millions. The changes introduced this year have created a new reality, one that demands careful attention and a clear-eyed understanding of the facts. Whether you are a student who just received an acceptance letter from an American university, a skilled professional with a job offer in Silicon Valley, or a person simply hoping to visit a relative in Chicago, these new visa restrictions could directly impact your plans, potentially delaying or even derailing them entirely. The ripple effects extend beyond the individuals themselves, touching universities that rely on international talent, companies that seek global expertise, and families that span continents. The story here is not just about policy. It is about the human connections and aspirations now intersecting with a formidable new set of bureaucratic hurdles. This new framework is not a single, simple directive. It is a multi-layered system of control, integrating new digital platforms and biometric checks that can be confusing to navigate. One person might find their application completely blocked, while another might face prolonged processing times, extensive new document requests, multiple security interviews, and mounting uncertainty. To understand what is happening with U.S. visas in 2026, we must look beyond a single policy change. Instead, it's essential to see the new framework as a dynamic structure built with three distinct and overlapping layers, designed to be more responsive to global conditions. The first is full suspension, the second, targeted restrictions, and the third, enhanced vetting. Each layer imposes a different kind of restriction, and a person's eligibility might be affected by one, two, or all three components simultaneously. This tiered approach is a significant departure from previous systems, creating a more complex and nuanced screening process that requires careful navigation from prospective applicants. The first and most severe layer is a full suspension of new visa issuance for citizens of a specific list of countries. This is a blanket measure, often reserved for situations of high national security concern. It is the most straightforward and also the most restrictive measure in the framework. The second layer operates with more specificity, allowing for surgical precision. It might, for example, pause the issuance of new H-1B work visas for engineers from a certain country, or temporarily halt J-1 exchange visitor visas for a particular region. This lets the government fine-tune controls based on assessed risks, such as security, health, or potential visa overstays. Because these restrictions can be implemented or lifted with more agility, it creates a more fluid and less predictable environment for travelers and businesses. The third and broadest layer is enhanced vetting that can apply to applicants from any country, regardless of the other two layers. This procedural change has substantial impact across the board. It means more extensive documentation, which could include detailed travel histories and financial records, more in-depth interviews exploring an applicant's background and intentions, and potentially new biometric or security screenings. It creates a more rigorous review for every applicant, lengthening processing times and raising the burden of proof for demonstrating eligibility. These three layers, suspension, restriction, and vetting, work in concert, creating an intricate and formidable system that all future visa applicants must be prepared to face. The most severe and impactful measure is a full suspension of new visa issuance for citizens of 19 specific countries. This is a comprehensive halt. U.S. embassies and consulates in these countries and around the world have been directed to stop processing nearly all new visas for their nationals. The stated rationale centers on national security, a lack of reliable data sharing, and high rates of visa overstays. Afghanistan, Belarus, Burkina Faso, Cuba, Eritrea, Haiti, Iran, Iraq, Kyrgyzstan, Libya, Mali, Myanmar, Niger, North Korea, Somalia, Sudan, Syria, Venezuela, Yemen. According to U.S. statements, inclusion reflects failures to meet security, document integrity, repatriation, or public health standards. The list is subject to periodic review. Countries may be removed or added. The term full suspension is powerful, and its practical meaning is stark. For these citizens, the door to applying for a new U.S. visa is effectively closed. This applies across most common categories: someone hoping to visit family, someone hoping to see the Grand Canyon, someone hoping to attend a business conference. They cannot obtain a new B1, B2. A brilliant student cannot secure an F1. Skilled workers cannot be issued H1B or similar. Family reunification stalls at issuance, separating spouses, parents, and children. Existing valid visas may still allow travel, but admission is at CBP discretion with heightened scrutiny. Beyond full suspension, the other two layers, targeted bans and enhanced vetting, create a complex web for many nations. An individual traveler might face restrictions from multiple layers at once, making their path forward unclear and highly specific to their situation. The targeted visa category ban acts like a surgical tool, restricting specific visa types from certain countries. For example, an L1 intracompany transfer visa might be paused due to fraud concerns, or a B2 tourist visa might be restricted based on overstay rates. These lists can change with little notice, based on ongoing reviews by the State Department and Homeland Security. The third layer, enhanced vetting, applies worldwide. It mandates more documents, deeper financial and employment histories, often spanning a decade or more, and in some cases, additional interviews or biometrics. This administrative friction slows processing substantially, even for traditionally low-risk travelers from allied nations. Consider Anissa. Her student visa interview is delayed by months. She's asked for extensive 10-year financial records, and ultimately must defer her studies for a year. Marco's spousal visa is halted under a full suspension. The couple now faces years apart or a difficult decision to relocate to a third country. A company's key H-1B hire is paused under a category ban. A critical project slips, and strategic plans are left in limbo. The stress and uncertainty of enhanced vetting leads another family to cancel a long-awaited visit. So, how do you navigate this maze? First, ground yourself in official information. Regularly check state.gov.consular and the specific website for your local U.S. embassy or consulate. Rely only on these posted updates, not on rumors or social media chatter, which can be misleading. Students should immediately contact their international office to discuss options like deferrals or remote study. Workers should inform their HR department and immigration counsel to explore alternatives or adjust start dates. For complex, urgent, or denial cases, consulting a qualified immigration attorney is wise. This is not legal advice, it's to help guide you in the correct path. How long will this last? No definitive public timeline is ever provided for these measures. They typically remain in effect while the underlying conditions persist, with internal reviews happening every 6 to 12 months. The authority to implement, modify, or rescind these policies rests with the executive branch, the President, the State Department, and DHS. Legal challenges may pause or uphold certain parts, but these court battles are often slow, and their outcomes are uncertain. The best strategy is to plan based on today's rules while staying diligently informed of any changes. Your checklist. Verify your country and visa status on official sites. Notify your school or employer immediately. Organize all required documents early, and seek reputable counsel if your case is complex. With methodical steps and accurate information, you can make the most informed choices for your future.